Well, hello, my name is Prem, and welcome back to this episode of ATS Showcases, and today, as you can tell by the title and thumbnail, we are here on the 1.46 open beta for American Truck Simulator. So if you want to opt into this update, you can just go into the American Truck Simulator options within Steam and go to the Betas tab and select Public Beta 1.46. It's that simple, that easy, but I would recommend removing any mods that you do have in your profile, at least to start, just to make sure that there's no fatal crashes for your save. Now, 1.46 brings in many new features for American Truck Simulator, but one of the more major features, I guess you could say, is the chemical trailer. The ownable chemical trailers are now here in American Truck Simulator and will be in ATS 2 as well for my European friends. Now, for the options, it's just a single chain type, at least as of right now. And then when you go to the body, you have the kind of drop style body, I guess I'll call it, and that's what they kind of have it in the naming convention right here. And then just the standard shape, really just your standard cylinder shape as well. So you have those two options. In the video, I'm using the drop because I figure it's a little bit more interesting. Let's just say that. Chassis-wise, you have a few different options, the 43-foot, the 48-foot, and two 53s, just one with a steerable axle and one without it. Paints are your normal kind of, just depending on your DLCs, what you have, and the standard ATS paints. And then on the exterior accessories, it's just like any other trailer. Mud flaps, lights, your tires, all the good stuff. Another feature for 1.46 is the new company browser. Now, this is something that some of you may use, some of you may not. Now, for me, this is huge because what you're able to do is select a city and see what companies are there and what cargo types, and for your ownable trailers as well, which is indicated by this bottom section here, what cargo types you should, in theory, be able to find in that city. Now, this is something that I have struggled with for so long, especially on new content. For example, up here in Montana, the amount of time I spent to try and find an area where either livestock or, for example, dry bulk trailers, some of the different, and even fuels. The fuels is a big one, and chemical trailers especially are ones that this is actually very handy. And fun fact, for today's video, I actually legitimately use this to try and find where I could do a delivery with a chemical trailer around here, and especially around the US Route 20, which I'll get to in a second. But this is huge in my opinion, especially for those who want to go around and just see what you can actually take for the different cities and, in theory, be able to deliver to and from. It's not a guarantee that you'll actually get all these cargo types, and especially with the trailers, the ownable stuff. Contracts will vary, but in theory, these are the things that should be available there. So if you just wait long enough or refresh, if you're in the external market, as far as I know, they're synced as well, you should be able to find what you're looking for. And speaking about US Route 20, we are here in Idaho Falls, and we're going to be heading up to Billings today, so it's actually a fairly long delivery, but we do have a lot of stuff to talk about because I've been away for quite some time on these longer form content. But the main feature I wanted to check out here was US Route 20. This stretch here from Idaho Falls, kind of up, well, just south of Bozeman there. But that's kind of the new section that for anyone who owns Idaho and Montana, this is a free part of 1.46. And unless if I'm completely blind, as far as I know, this is the newest part and it wasn't here before. So overall, I think it's going to be a great delivery, and it'll be interesting to see the landscape around there. And we're going to be checking it out, well, right first, just as we get onto the highway, and then it will turn into US Route 20 there. So we'll see what it's actually like. So today we're going to be hauling some hydrochloric acid in our ownable chemical trailer. Definitely some corrosive stuff, that's for sure, but I really like this chrome, and of course, I had to go chrome. For those who've been around here, you know that. And here in the Western Star 57X, because there has been some small changes, and there was a separate little Western Star 57X update that happened, well, a while back now, but unfortunately I could never cover it. It's small details around the truck, but it's just kind of a nice little addition as well, and I think overall this is quite a solid unit. So let's hop inside, get going, because we've got an episode and a half here for everyone. Hopefully everyone's doing well. I certainly am. Oh, hold on. I just had something to remember, and I've realized now this is something I may actually turn off once I demo it here, because in just kind of driving around, just kind of getting to this spot here from the pickup location, it's a little sickening, at least right now. I'd like maybe if SES Software, if you're watching this, possibly down the line or for the actual release, add a slider, if possible, for the amount of this Driveshaft torque stuff that you can put on the truck. It's an amazing feature, but in the interior view, my word, is it a little bit sickening on the wobbliness. I don't know if that's something that can be changed in another setting with the camera or what. I haven't really looked into too much, to be honest. But that's just something I've noticed, and I'll probably turn it off once I demo it here, just for the sake of this video, so you guys don't get sick, and neither do I. So let's go ahead and throttle here while I've got the parking brake on and in first gear, and you'll see the truck kind of twist as it goes. This is something that's called drivetrain or like driveshaft torque, and it's when you're basically putting a lot of torque through the drive shaft itself, and it's just twisting because you've got way too much torque from the engine, and it's just kind of twisting the frame a little bit, and it ultimately kind of tips the front end up a little bit too. So that's kind of what it is. And so in the interior view, you've got this kind of rocking system back and forth here, and to be honest with you, that's a little bit sickening. So to change that setting, if you want it on and off, and as far as I know, it's default off, so I had turned it on just to test it. You go into gameplay, and then you head down just a little bit here, and in the kind of truck settings area, you'll see this drive shaft torque, and so you just turn that on or off, whatever you like. I'd love to see a slider there, and I don't believe, I'm just going to double check to make sure I'm not going crazy. I didn't see a slider that would affect it. I really hope there will be. No, that's suspension stiffness right there. So it'd be great if there was a bit of a slider, just so you could dial it down a little bit, just for those who get a little bit motion sick, as do I. Anyways, like I was saying, hopefully everyone's doing well. I certainly am. You know what? It's been a while, my friends. Which way am I going now, GPS? Okay, I guess I'm going left. That's fine. It can just choose whatever way it wants, I guess. There's not really one specific way. It's kind of a loop around here anyway, so whatever. It's been a while. We're closing in on a couple, well, it's been at least a few weeks. I believe we're only a week or so away from it being a month since my last kind of longer form content here on the channel. First of all, thank you guys so much for the support through that. I won't really dive into what's been happening. Nothing major, and to be honest, there's no real reason to kind of explain what's happening other than just been busy. That's really the best way to put it. Just been busy. That's the way it is. And I've also kind of, I had a bit there where I was just kind of, I didn't want to say struggling to record, but I definitely just had this kind of feeling of I didn't want to just kind of set stuff up and go. That was mainly the biggest thing that happened. I actually had to fold up my wheel stand and put it away, and then with other things happening, I just never ended up pulling it back out to do a recording. This is something that kind of pained me to a bit, to be honest, because I really wanted to do stuff, and I had lots of plans and stuff like that, but it was just a matter of actually kind of sitting down to do it. It sounds bad. It really does sound bad. But, you know, I kind of just needed a bit of a refresher break as well mentally from doing it. It's not like I'm full-time at it or anything like that. That's for sure. But it's just a kind of a weird mental battle in a way. Nothing serious, but just it's great. Oh, there's a truck there. It's just great to be able to be back here in ATS finally. ATS 2 stuff, racing content is all coming now. I've actually got some stuff already lined up pretty much just to go out. So expect some more frequent uploads of the longer form content from me once again. I'm going to do my best to get back to the upload schedule-ish that I had tried, a Wednesday and a Saturday. And maybe even some in between. Of course, Prime News happens whenever. For those who are new around here, which there are plenty of you, my upload schedule is, well, currently non-existent, to be honest with you. But it is, the general goal is to have a longer form video on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And then basically my Prime News happens whenever there's actually news that happens. And then whenever it comes to other stuff, I may throw it in on a Friday or whatever. But just kind of give lots of content for you guys, and I try to keep it a little bit diverse too. And if you guys have gone through some of the videos here on the channel, you know that I do try and shake things up a bit, you know, within a box-ish, but trying to expand it as well. I do want to expand simulator games as well to different stuff, not just only American Truck Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator 2, and some of the racing content that I've done so far. I really want to expand to other stuff. It's just a matter of time, honestly. But that's all good. Let's talk about 1.46, because that is the flagship, yeah, we're shifting in an automatic low. That is the flagship item here on my list that I've kind of formulated, which is almost a full sheet of paper, saying that I've written fairly large, so take that as a grain of salt. But, oh, I think we've got someone in our blind spot, because our blind spot monitor was on and off there. Is there someone actually back there? Well, there is technically someone back there, but I'm going to get into the right lane. Kind of cut them off before they get over there, just for the sake of me being more realistic with stuff. But no, it is, wait, hold on. Did anyone notice? Where's my speed? Where's my speed on my GPS? Is that part of the change in one? I was gonna get to this, but I haven't actually looked at this. Hold on. I gotta figure some stuff out. I officially cannot figure out how to get a speed back on there. Oh well, I guess I'm gonna have to actually pay attention to signs. That's not a bad thing. Well, we start with that. One of the not really highlighted features of 1.46, but in the changelog it is there, and I said it in the Prime News video, and I'll say it here once again. One of the changes was for the Western Star 57X, the Cascadia, and actually all the trucks in general, but primarily the 57X and Cascadia, got kind of a not really an overhaul, but definitely a change to how the kind of infotainment and GPS system work. I had no idea in the blog post because they didn't provide a screenshot of the changes. No idea how that actually kind of worked. And I think I've just found out the hard way that the speed limit is non-existent. Man, I don't know if I've just sometimes I try to start a word that just doesn't all come out before I can before I continue. It just got a partial word in there, but hey ho. Try and speak and then you forget how to speak. It's so annoying, especially when you're doing a video. Anywho, 1.46 also of course brought in the ownable tanker trailers, which are, well, the chemical trailers, I should clarify that. The specialization of the ownable cistern trailer, what they formally call it. And then we also have US Route 20, which we are currently on, which may I say is truly stunning stuff. It is a very nice area here, and I'm just trying to, go between exterior and interior there, mainly so I don't crash, but also so you can experience this beautiful area of Montana into Idaho, or vice versa, depending on which way you're going. I guess for us, it's Idaho into Montana. It's a beautiful area in real life, and SA Software has managed to capture that and put it into the game, and these kind of, I call them country/back roads, but they're just not necessarily interstates. It's just really nice to be able to have these more kind of detail-oriented areas. Not saying that the other areas aren't detail-oriented, but it's just nice to have these more kind of, I want to say, I lost the word. This is awkward. Peaceful, that's a good word. That only took me a minute to think about that. Peaceful area on the map. You know what I mean. It's just nice to have this area, and it's a really nice place, to be honest, and I'm happy they added it. I'm really happy that more of these kind of back area roads have been added in. Even though it's not necessarily dirt or gravel, it's just great to have another area here on the map that's kind of more visually interesting, more so than even the beautiful urban areas. At least for me, I'm a bit more, I guess, of a country boy at heart, so it's definitely, I kind of relate to this scenery a bit better than the urban stuff. Nothing wrong with the urban stuff, but I generally prefer the more country-oriented stuff, just in general. We got some signs there too, because West Yellowstone is apparently a town, which I believe we'll go through, and probably that's the junction point where this connects with some of the existing roads. But West Yellowstone was added as well, or at least altered, however they managed to do that. So that's kind of a cool area as well to check out. But look at this area here. Beautiful scenery here. Just those mountain ridges or hill ridges. Because can you really class that as a mountain? I guess you can class it as a mountain. It's fairly steep. We'll call it a mountain. It's a beautiful area, and that's all that matters. I've also, of course, I've already talked about the torque, the torque, basic cabin torque, or drivetrain torque, or drive shaft torque, however you want to call it. There's a whole whack of different things you could call it, but it's just a really cool kind of feature there. If you like it, you know what? Feel free to have it. If you feel like it's realistic, put it on. I guess I just have to probably adjust to it, to be honest. I could probably get used to it. I like some of the movement in ATS already, but the way that it just kind of rotates the whole plane left and right is just a little much. I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard because if you, in these trucks, you'd have an air ride seat anyway, so I don't know, to be honest, how that would feel, if that actually is fairly realistic or if it's not. I'm gonna have to ask you guys. That's something for all those truckers who watch my content. Please fill me in on how realistic that kind of demo at the beginning was. Does it actually look in, I can't say feel, but does it look like that, really, through your eyes whenever that happens, because I'm sure it's a common thing on any transport? Or is it a little bit too kind of simulated fakeness? Like I said, if there could be a slider on it, that would be huge, I think, for playability of it. I think, unfortunately, with the way it is, now I can't speak for everyone, but I do feel that there'd probably be a lot of people that would just not bother with it because they get too annoyed with it. And that's something I don't want to see happen to it, because I know there would have been a lot of work put into it, and it's just unfortunate, kind of just how it was, I don't want to say implemented, but just definitely, what are you doing, truck? Just sticking your nose out into the middle of the road? Thank you very much. It's just the way it is, and you know what? It's fine. I'm not going to complain too much. I just won't have it on right now, and we'll see if things get updated. I'm sure it will. But if you want to put other feedback, there's forums on the official forum page for SEO software about various topics and bugs and stuff like that. Please check that out. If you have any, we'll call it beef, with anything you see in the update, it's just like anything. If you see anything, let SEO software know, and I sure will be letting them know. Just put my 2 cents on that, and that's what I've done in this video. Now, when it comes to the other stuff in 1.46, we have some revamps of some different viewpoints, especially in Idaho. That's one major thing, and some city intros. So for if you're starting, traffic over here is just having a grand old time. What in the world is happening here? We do have a green light, but traffic ran it. I think this is technically West Yellowstone, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of cool. I haven't actually been over here, to be honest with you, yet, if you could tell by the map. We are discovering road as we go, and we're going to get, I guess, in behind this guy. I thought it was going to be multi-lane for a little bit longer there, but unfortunately not. There's a lot of new city and custom city intros, which is something SEO software brought in, I believe, in 1.45. They trialed it with a couple little things, or I guess 1.45 on the ATS 2 side, and for American Truck Simulator with the release of the Montana DLC, or maybe I'm getting that confused. But ultimately, they've been kind of experimenting it, and from now on, all the new cities will have more custom intros as they go, and then they're going back through and revamping those custom city intros whenever you start a new profile, and the kind of cinematic and information they give. Generally speaking, it was always just the same info. Actually, it was. There's no generally speaking about it. It was the same info no matter what city you went to, just welcome to this city. The only thing that changed was the name of the town or city that you started in. Other than that, it was just all the basic stuff. They're going to be they've been changing some of the cinematics, kind of using more of the, I want to say, viewpoint areas instead of just kind of a general cinematic around your garage. I'm sure that part hasn't changed. I haven't actually started a new city. I'll be fully transparent there. I haven't started a new profile with when that's come in, or any of those things, but I've seen cinematics and I've seen some of the screenshots from it, and they do look really nice, and it's supposed to, no, don't completely take my word for this, but as far as I know, it gives a little bit more information on that specific town, not just welcome to American Truck Simulator, the same speech that we've had for years now, on both ATS and ATS 2. That's kind of a nice feature for those who constantly start new profiles. I haven't started a new profile in quite some time because I mainly use this showcase save that is kind of my ultimate trucking save, basically. Tons of cash that I totally got legitly. A lot of time spent, I can tell you that. Maybe. But then, of course, I do have my Prime Logistics saves, both on ATS2 and ATS, which I do really have to get back to. That's not more of a, it's going to be down the line. It's going to be a very soon. I've got to put an episode out on there and get back into the survival kind of way of things on the trucking side, because a lot of you like that. I do like it a lot. But it's just been the way it has been. I've been doing a lot of the showcases. They're great in their own sense, and in a way they serve the same purpose, other than there's just not a lot of storyline behind it. The only thing that will generally maintain the same are the mods on the engine side, but even still, those change out constantly as well. So ultimately, it's just a matter of a personal kind of opinion on if you want to start multiple saves or not. I haven't. Full transparency there. That's why I haven't really tried out those new city intros, but I do think they are a very cool thing to have, and they just really just diversify the game a little bit more right from the get-go. So then when you do start multiple games, because ultimately a lot of new players, you start a game anyways, but then you may start a new one after, and odds are you would multiple. So, you know, it's kind of nice to have some different areas and kind of learn a little bit more about the area, see some of the beautiful work that SEO Software has done to put the scenery into this game, and show off some of the DLCs and just the base map itself. That's kind of talking about, you know, I was really hoping to see maybe another phase of the California rework within this update. Now, saying that, things can change with the open beta. This is obviously my first look at the open beta, and on kind of actually recording this only hours after it's installed on my game. So things can change a lot. Things can change a lot here when it comes to the content. Who knows if this is the final list? Probably not. The only time we'll know is whenever the official changelog comes out, whenever the update officially releases. But something that is kind of intriguing about 1.46 is, and actually I'm going to check this right now, what is the color of Texas? It's not changed yet, but that doesn't mean that it's going to change, that it doesn't mean that it won't change, I guess I should say. It's something I really wanted to know, is if Texas has kind of changed to this lighter gray color that the rest of the map is, or I guess it's a little bit of a between color, but if it's changed, then you know it's coming. But judging by the amount of blog posts that are left on the official microsite of Texas, which are the next topics I'll talk about here, there's not much. There's not much left on the microsite, but there's still plenty of major ones left, but there's only a handful total. As confusing as that sounds, long story short, there is a very high likelihood that 1.46 will be the update prior to the Texas DLC. And we have a way station now. Do we have to go? I guess we have to turn in here, technically. Now that's a no exit, so we got to go around. So we'll go into the turning lane here. Yes, stop at the truck scales. I know. I just got to be able to turn in here. I think I can turn left in. Yeah, it looks like you can. It's not a off ramp, so we're going for it. We'll turn in and weigh our truck, and then continue on our way. And it's just these little way stations I like a little bit more than just always the ones on the side of the road you're going. I know it's realistic to have it on the side of the same side, but it's also, you get a lot of these way stations that are just smaller ones you got to just turn into, maybe even go off a little bit. There's been a few, especially on the newer DLCs, that you actually have to drive on a little road off a little bit, or if you're on the highway, you got to exit and then come on back onto the highway. That's just little touches that I do tend to enjoy. But something I have noticed that there is still, even with that kind of Driveshaft torque feature off, you still get a little, I don't know if that's just now that I'm being hypersensitive to it or not, but it feels like there's a bit more kind of cabin movement anyways. So I don't know if some of the other physics were changed by that. I mean, I'd imagine it would, but it's just like little movements and stuff. It just feels like it's gone a little bit more. Now I do run my kind of cab a little bit more stiff, and maybe that's something I should try maybe doing. Oh, I guess they're going ahead here. I guess I shouldn't butt in front of the line, considering I'm in a transport. I can't zoom out like if I'm in a car. But you know, it's maybe something I should try is to soften up the suspension a bit and the cab suspension, just see if that would help. I doubt it would, unless if it would soften out kind of the edges of the move. But I'll have to play with that, and maybe my opinion will change on that. But if there could be a slider to kind of phase in how much of the kind of torque you get from the drivetrain, that would be amazing for that feature. Just so there's not so much camera movement, but you still get it. You still feel it, but it's not crazy. Long story short, that would just be amazing. But let's talk a bit about Texas. I did hint on it with the possibility of it being the kind of tag along with 1.46. But we've had quite a few blog posts on Texas. We've had another iteration of the cities and settlements, which listed many new cities that are coming to that are going to be included with the DLC. We've had construction and different basically the interchanges as well. That's all there, and most recently we've had the oil industry and the different chemical industry as well. That's going to be within Texas. Now that's quite coincidental, if you ask me. We've just got a chemical trailer and we now have. Oh, I guess we technically have ownable tankers trailers too. It's going to be. It's kind of coincidental, if you ask me, that we're getting Texas. And we now have the chemical/fuel trailers that could haul stuff around. If you ask me, that's a pretty big one for the sake of the game here. But you know what? I think it's really cool. And the oil industry in Texas is just sprawling everywhere. Almost seemingly everywhere you look, you've got an oil well. You've got some form of processing plant. Well, Texas does produce the most oil in the U.S. It is the leader. It's the leading state in that department. So it's no surprise that there'd be a lot in the DLC. And something I did find very funny when I was reading through the comments, as I normally do. I try and go through as many as I humanly can. Some of you that have either live in Texas or have driven trucks in Texas, for that matter, you go and pick. I saw one comment in particular. I can't unfortunately remember the person who commented it, but I did. They stated that basically they were going to pick something up or deliver something, and in the parking lot of, I want to say like a rest station or something like that, I believe, unless I'm butchering the story, there was just an oil well, oil pump, just in the middle of kind of like the parking lot or some form of parking area. We're just going to roll through the light here. I mean, that's totally Texas, if you ask me. I found that just really funny. Now, I do apologize if I completely butchered the story. It's on the Prime News with the oil industry blog post. So if you want to check out that comment for real, just go to that video and look in the comment section. You'll be able to find it. I apologize. I can't. My memory can only do so much. I didn't write it down on my sheet, so I'm going off the cuff and. There's a lot of comments that I go through now. I love the interaction here on the channel. You guys are truly incredible with that, and I can't thank you guys enough for, once again, all the continued support, even through times where I'm really only putting out Prime News videos, and even still those are a bit sporadic, and then it's the longer form stuff that is not necessarily like more interesting, but it's a nice break from just the short form Prime News. I like the longer stuff. A little bit more conversational based, and get to try out some different stuff as well, like, well, checking out first look of 1.46. That's kind of a huge deal in my mind. But you know what? It's the way it is, and thank you guys so much for the continued support on that front. Well, you know what? I've kind of basically gone through my list now, so now you get to listen to some kind of off-the-cuff Prime, which some days is better than others, I'll tell you that much. But you know what, it's great to be in this area of Idaho and into Montana, I guess we are now. And to be honest, I haven't really, I have driven along here, but not like a ton. I won't lie, I have done it. I think I've gone the other direction here, but this little section in here, kind of by where the 89 hits between Bozeman and Laurel, I haven't really done it. I don't think at all, other than this basically going up through the 89. I've done it quite well here on the map, but only 40% somehow. Now, that's a bit of a grain of salt, because this central section of Nevada, I've done like years past in this save too. But there was some major updates and map changes, obviously, within the last few updates, but I think that was a while ago, and I just haven't gone back because I've been trying to explore the newer stuff and also kind of showcasing the nicer areas of the map. I don't like saying that, but it's ultimately true. SC Software kind of admits it every time they do a revamp of an area. It's just the way it is. Things change and develop, and just as time goes on, things get better, and the older things start to show their age. But that applies to more things than just games, that's for sure. But... oh man, I just went down a rabbit hole there and not going to go to it. I can't even control my laughter now because I'm just thinking about where that could go. Don't take that out of context, people, please. But anyway, so we're going to move off of that. Long story short, it's just really fun to be in the newer areas for the sake of showing off the amazing work that and the current work that SE Software is doing. And when it comes to showing off mods and stuff like that, I don't know. It's just a little bit more kind of just visually appealing overall, and a little bit, and obviously more realistic. A lot of the mods, the point of them are to be even more realistic or diversify trucks and stuff like that, but they're ultimately very realistic. So it's nice to have that kind of sense of the environment around you is a little bit more realistic. It just makes things easier, to be honest, just to kind of portray a video, and it makes it a little bit, once again, just a little bit more visually appealing, not just all the cookie cutter, because I'm not the only one to say this, but a lot of, at least the older sections of California, not the newer stuff, and admittedly I should go back to the revamped areas. I haven't spent as much time there as I should. But the revamped areas of California, and then, the non-revamped areas of California, the original bit, and, hit the rumble strip there, and then going into parts of Arizona and Nevada. Those areas, and even New Mexico now, those areas are really starting to show their age, and it's kind of, I want to do more stuff there, but it's hard because I've got to balance between doing a showcase of, what I'm trying to look at and kind of going at the new content, because there's constantly new content for the game. Just trying to keep up with that while kind of diversifying where I'm going, and there's now so many areas that the older bits, there's less of a reason to go back to until the revamp, and then from there I wouldn't think twice about going anywhere. But when you've got that fairly contrasting difference between quality from the new to the original, it makes it pretty easy, especially now with the amount of room we have to kind of move around here on the ATS map. It makes it really easy to stay away from the older areas. It's not great to do that, to be honest. I should really go back, but it's kind of just out of natural instinct that I don't, and it's sad to say that. Overall, though, I'm sure they, especially with the California revamp, and obviously that will move on to other areas as well. I'm really hoping then that drives more reason to be back in California, because I know a lot of players, and I know a few of you have commented and so on about that, agree that they really haven't touched California since, if you started in American Truck Simulator, and that was also kind of the, I guess, in a way, it's almost like a burnout situation. A lot of players, including myself with American Truck Simulator, got the game pretty much when it released. I got mine, American Truck Simulator, kind of really early 2017. So I think around roughly 6-7 months after it released for in 2016. I believe it was around summer that it actually released. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but anyways, it was really early 2017 when it released, so it was very early on, and really only had California and stuff like that to explore around. That definitely kind of became a bit of a burnout situation, because you're always just kind of motoring around this area, and then obviously it was Arizona and Nevada, and then New Mexico was one that I really remember being more significant in getting that DLC. Either way, it just kind of kept you a little bit more confined between these certain interstates, and you're constantly just doing the same job types. There weren't really much in the form of variety, so it kind of burnt people out, I think, of some of the original areas in California. It's unfortunate because it's a great area, and as we're seeing now with the revamps, it's a really nice area to be. It's just basically SE Software is having to design California from the ground up. Again, it's simple as that. Pretty much they're just creating a brand new California DLC and releasing it in phases. If you want to think of it that way, that's the easiest way to put it. That's basically how most of the revamps work, especially for full DLCs, which they're doing. It's the way it is, once again. I'm sure I'll go back in due course, but it's just when, I don't really know. I probably should make an effort to go back, and maybe that's something in Prime Logistics I can do more, because it's more about finding the proper job, and I don't care necessarily about showcasing everything to the kind of best potential for a visual quality of the video. Ultimately, it's still as good a quality you're going to get, and you can use the newer trucks or whatever you want to do. But going around that way would be more realistic in the sense of expansion of companies and stuff like that, or different state kind of divisions. And that's really something I want to do in in the Prime Logistics now that I think if I remember correctly, because I haven't really even checked, that's how bad it's been. We're at a point where we got another driver and kind of another truck, and we're starting to grow the company. So I could expand to different states, and because of the size of the map and the changes that's happened to the map since doing Prime Logistics, that can really start to expand and have different state, basically garages that then they just work around and stuff like that, which is kind of my ultimate goal, to kind of have that. And I have it basically here in ATS Showcases just to an absolute, like, to the nth degree. Oh good, I can bypass, that's always good. It's just to another level, because all my garages, which I've got a ton of them, are just all filled up with trucks that I've used, and some of the ones that I like to rotate around. Now the mod ones I often sell off whenever a major update comes in, just so they're not breaking when I remove them from the save, and I don't want anything to corrupt. But a lot of the stock trucks, that is, whenever I'm doing stuff, I buy and sell them depending on what I'm doing. But generally speaking, I keep a couple versions of each in my garages that I can then change if I need to. So one, it speeds up time for me to make the videos, but two, I've got the selection right there. I don't have to buy a truck and then teleport around. I kind of have them around the map, so it makes stuff easier that way. And the garages also play a huge role in being able to quick travel to some places that don't have a repair center where you can use the quick travel feature, or I just manually teleport there. But I don't generally like doing that just for the sake of using the commands. It's just like, why? I think you use some of the other features that are now in ATS and ETS 2. But there you go. That's a little bit about ATS Showcases and how I run that. But overall, you know what? Prime Logistics I've got to get back to. I got to explore some of the other areas on the map and kind of move past my kind of like aversion for some of the older states there, because they're good. They're great in their own way, and they're almost historic. If you want to think, I guess I could think about it that way. They're historic. They're antiques. They're just a little rough on the edges and the fronts too. But hey ho. We're here in Billings. My word, I have managed to drag this on for a long time. That is quite impressive. This may be one, surprisingly, even though I've had a few words that just don't want to, like, form in my mouth, I've somehow managed to do this for a fairly, like, solid, long time. I don't even know how long this is going to be by the time I edit this. I probably won't have to edit much out. It's just kind of any of the downtime between doing my kind of showing off of the trailers and stuff at the beginning of the video. It's not a ton of time between those, but you know, just some time gets cut out. A little bit of intro stuff for syncing of videos and stuff, or audio and video and stuff like that. You know, all that kind of behind the scenes stuff. I've got to do behind the scenes videos for my members and patrons and supporters. I don't actually think I have everyone listed properly in the descriptions all the time. I've got to figure out how I'm going to do that. To be honest, it's all a learning process. I've got to decide how and if I'm going to continue to list stuff as things grow, how I'm going to make sure things either get updated if I do, and how frequently I do it, or if I just, you know, if it's more of just a kind of like a paid support version, and then you just kind of get some benefits whenever it happens, but you don't get like any recognition. I don't really want to do that route, but I don't really know, to be honest, at this point, how that's, because all that stuff is so new and constantly changing. I gotta decide how I want to roll with that, and it's something I gotta figure out, and I will figure it out. But I do appreciate all the support, especially on the monetary side. I mean, that's just kind of a given, to be honest. But I appreciate the support no matter what form it is. It means a lot to me. We're here at Chems, finally. This has been a long delivery, and we gotta actually park up over in here. So let's see how I can do this. This is gonna be another blindside reverse. Could I have gone around the building? I could have. I could have. But that would have been way too easy, wouldn't it have? I've parked in this kind of complex before. I remember having issues with that. How should I do this? Should I cheat or no? I have decided not to cheat. Instead, I have turned the vehicle around and I'm gonna do a non-blindside reverse because I don't have any feeling for blindsides. I just don't like them at all. I couldn't care less about how they feel about life. I like being able to see what I'm doing. I'm pretty adamant about it. I don't drive trucks in real life, but I can imagine how annoying they are, and I've sure seen drivers try and do it, and I can tell they're not having a fun time if they have to. The blind spot monitor is actually kind of handy for the wall. I don't know if it's going to help me though. I'm probably still going to scrape up against it at this rate. I don't know how I'm making this. I'm using outside view just for the sake of curiosity, because I'm going to scrape. Yeah, I hugged that way too close, didn't I? Alright, attempt 2. Here we go. I mean, this video is already long enough anyways. At this point, I might as well just kind of do the full meal here. Full course meal and just show this process. I mean, I'm just going to end up in the same position again, aren't I? I should have gone for the steerable axle version, people. Because look at this. I'm just going to... The truck's too long. How am I going to... Oh, yeah, there we go. Just take some paint off. I mean, that's fine. Don't hit the building now. Okay, prime. That's going to almost hit the building. Cheating again. Okay, here we go. We move forward just a little bit. And we got to inch away, crank the wheel. So hopefully we pull it back from the wall. We're very close on that side. We haven't hit it yet. Oh, now we did. Now we did. Look at that. That is what you call a pro. Yeah, not. Let's see if we can actually fix this, or if it's just going to be a continual loop of pain. I'm not overly optimistic. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. All right, out we go again. Or maybe if I just come more this way, and can I? I don't know how I'm gonna get this turned around here without it. Okay, we're using outside view just for the sake of trying to get this. It's mainly the ladder around, and we gotta get it in far enough that we can then kind of shuffle around here and try and straighten it back up. Oh, that's a fence. Just lovely. You didn't see anything, people. You did not see a thing. What an episode. Now we're hitting that wall. Well, this just went out the window. You know, sometimes I can nail this first time, and then other times, and low air pressure. Oh, come on, game. I've tried too long. Oh, this is... Oh. Is it going? Or is it... It's out, but it's not moving because it... The air brakes are kind of locked. Okay, well... I could either be in here listening to the beep for a long time, or I can just say thank you guys so much for watching. We're close enough. They can run the cable, or cable. No, not power. They can run the hose from the bottom of the tank into the building if they need to pump it out at this point. Thank goodness for the lack of damage modeling here in ATS, at least as of right now. If it ever gets added in the future, my trucks are never going to look very good. I'm just going to throw it out there right now. But nonetheless, thank you all so much for watching. This has been one massive episode, one of the longest ones in a long time. But there's been a lot to talk about. 1.46 is an amazing update. Needless of how I try and describe it. It is great. Highly recommend you guys checking it out. If you don't want to, perfectly fine. Just keep an eye out here on the channel. I'll be doing lots more content on 1.46 until it releases and afterwards, of course. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.